Everyone, Miss Rebecca here. Hope you're keeping your brains working while we're still out of school. We're going to talk some more on static electricity. We're going to read through our little article here. We've got some questions we're going to go through. And when we get done, I may see if I can make my hair look wild and crazy like our girl in our article here using static electricity. So you'll have to stick around for that. So look at our picture. You've got a little girl here and her hair is standing up wild and crazy. What happened? It says this girl went down the slide. As she was sliding, her hair stuck straight out. This was caused by static electricity. Static electricity happens when electrons build up on an object. All objects are made of atoms. Atoms are the smallest parts of matter. They are the building blocks of all objects. Atoms have small parts called particles. Electrons and protons are two particles in atoms. So if you remember from my last video, you've got electrons and protons. Your electrons are negatively charged. Your protons are positively charged. Easy way to remember that is P for proton, P for positive. Protons are positive, electrons are negative. Electrons have a negative charge, protons have a positive charge. In most atoms, there are the same number of protons and electrons. There are the same number of positive and negative charges. This makes the charges in the atom balance out. It has no charge. So if you have the same number of positive and negative charges, your atom will have no charge. It balances each other out. The number of electrons in an atom can change. An atom can lose electrons. It then has more protons than electrons. This gives the atom a positive charge. So if I have more protons, my atom is going to be positively charged. An atom may gain electrons. Now the atom has more electrons than protons. The atom is negatively charged. So if I have more electrons, it's going to be negatively charged. Opposite charges are attracted to each other. My positives are attracted to my negatives are attracted to my positives. Positive charges move toward negative charges move toward positive charges. So you can see here your negative is attracted to your positive, but your positive and positive like to move away from each other. And then your two negatives move away from each other. They repel each other. Some things have the same charge. They repel each other. This means they move away from each other. A positively charged object will move away from another positively charged object. So when you play with magnets and you get two magnets and you try and stick the two ends together and they don't quite want to touch, that's because they have the same charge. They're either both positive or they're both negative. And so you can kind of feel that resistance because they're wanting to move away from each other. Well, they're wanting to repel each other. And then when you flip one end and you've got two different charges, they click together and they stick. They're attracted to one another. They're attracted. When objects are rubbed quickly, they may lose electrons. The electrons flow to the thing that rubs it. This is how static electricity builds up. So we've got a few questions here, kind of review of what we talked about. So what is static electricity? Static electricity happens when electrons build up on an object. And our atoms, what are atoms? Atoms are the smallest parts of matter. What are electrons? Electrons are your negative charges. What happens to an atom when it loses electrons? So if I have an atom and it has an equal number of protons and an equal number of electrons, and I lose some of my electrons, that means I'm going to have more protons. P, proton, P for positive. My atom is going to be positive charged again when it loses those electrons. What happens when an atom gains electrons? All right, when it gains electrons, I have more electrons, more negative charges. My atom is going to be negatively charged. What type of charges are attracted to each other? We know the types of charges that are attracted to each other are our different charges, our negative and our positive. Negative and positive attract to one another. What happens when things have the same charge? When they have the same charge, they like to move away from each other. They repel each other. And how can something lose electrons? When objects are rubbed quickly, they may lose electrons. The electrons flow to the thing that rubs it, and this is how static electricity builds up. All right. So the girl in our picture, she slid down a slide like at a playground, and when she slid down, it made her hair stand up on end with static electricity. So we're going to see if we can use static electricity a different way to make my hair stand up on end. So I have a balloon, and I'm going to use the balloon, and I'm going to scrub it on my head, and we're going to see if I get static electricity in my hair, and my hair stands up on end just like hers. Let's see if I can make this do. Scrub it really good. See the static electricity in my hair? Not quite as good as hers, but I think it did pretty good. So there's my static electricity in my hair. See how it's sticking to the balloon? It's probably what my hair looks like in the mornings. And that's something you can do at home. Make your own static electricity with a balloon if you have one. All right, I will see you next video.